It is. Wow. October 5th, 2019, at 6:20 p.m., my old SD card gave out. It doesn't even register in the computer. Who knows if it was being, and more than likely, electronically interfered with. Um, with that being said, I had another SD card on hand, thank God. And now I know that the SD card was partially going bad for the last month and a half. Maybe a little longer than that, but I've lost files and good evidence and good stuff like that. But either way, just wanted to note that I caught this situation that the SD card unmounted. It kept disappearing, reappearing. This time it wouldn't reappear at 20, 6:25 p.m. When I had the phone in use, I had swiped down probably 15-20 minutes prior to that, and it was nothing was in the menu as far as the SD card being messed up. So I'd have to say in between that time as it fully went out for whatever reasons. Have a bunch of people running their mouths about Al Qaeda, ISIS. You know what happened on July 4th? In the same place that I was sitting, where my security home DVR cam system is, the Xbox, the cable, the router, the modem, the TV. I'm sitting in a chair playing video games, and July 4th, the DVR. No, it wasn't July 4th. It was about 4 days after. The DVR hard drive gave out again. Have the gentleman. His name's Carl Newman. He has notoriously stalked me across the United States for well over decades and decades, orchestrating social attacks, enforcement, all kinds of different things. This is our community. You don't do that stuff. But the point when I say things like that, I've explained it before. When it's interstate stalking or another state, you can't have the same person saying community, because technically they're not standing in the idealistic for the community stance, because you're in a completely another place. You're not actually in there trying to say this is, something I'm holding on to heartily, that this is my community. I've been here. I don't want to be bothered here. No, you're traveling and they're traveling. He has big ass group of people, and it's not just him, but he's a main contributor to the situation. There's been multitudes of finger point outs throughout the years of all kinds of assault that's happened to myself that he's had rigged up and set up and all the rest of the stuff. This gentleman works with the church, so it makes him look good about the things that he's doing. They're utilizing religious type of things too. You don't believe in Christ, you don't get the rights to fill or participate basically socially or whatnot with our group of people. We'll hold you to it, whatever it is. Target you for your life, and it's completely destroyed and completely obliterated my life. Anyways, you have Janara Torres, Thomas Stuckman. The altercations way back in May of 2011. They just moved in. They talking about they're tired of my stuff. They're tired of me. And these are new neighbors on the block. My family's kind of lived in this house. At least my grandfather did since 1985. He passed away quite a bit some time ago, when a bunch of things also started back then. They started taking advantage of me back then. But anyhow, these guys are enforcing, Janara Torres and Thomas Tuckman, their law enforcement, intimidation, threat, systematical threat. We can alterate, we can leverage our word, leverage our power, and what happens with you inside the system, be it the Social Security Administration, be it work, job, family relation, getting food stamps because I couldn't be able to work a job, even holding and containing a job, all the rest of the stuff. Ella Purdue, another situation as such. Interstate stalking, been seen like Carl Newman, notoriously outside in other states while I was hiking around the highway, the country, should I say, trying to find a place to settle down or like get to and see if I could find some extra peace. It did happen, but not as what it should have, because they was stalking. With that being said, just a complete toll. They're utilizing electronic devices, trying to screw up all kinds of shit, snobbing with it. You're a mental retard now. We have the rights to do this. What you gonna do to our people? Prove it. You're a schizo. We're gonna put it to the public that you don't have no proof and challenge you that way too. Why we mess with you? Nothing more than what a lot of targeted individuals call gang stalking. I have harsh belief that these guys are utilizing in deep and depth of law and enforcement that normal people don't have to tolerate and put up with. Usually don't have to be subjected to, even though anybody and everybody could, but they're utilizing the harshest whatever that tactic and whatever they can grasp on. Now there has been corruption found. There's been not even just like law enforcement government corruption, but social corruption by the communities that I've been in, and these guys in here, including Carl Newman and his people, which they like enforcing their law enforcement. They have connections. They have mental health connections. Well, mental health works usually a county situation. You don't stalk a person across the United States telling them that you own the community, you authoritate above it, unless on top while they're also illustrating that they're gang members, organized crime, all this. We're only doing it because you did it, and they're talking about some things that when I was a teenager. I'm 38 years old right now, a teenager. This is karma. What goes around comes around. Well, trying to get out of that situation, realizing it was a bad situation, I've talked to doctors, and they also said maybe what happened with you, and it ain't even maybe, something else had to have been sour for you to have acted the way that you was. So it's still on their shoulders while they're trying to pawn and utilize that social destructive type of influence, game, attribute, enforcement that no, we're all sane and he's not, so we're attacking him. We don't want him around us. Well, you make the complaint you don't want me around you, but then again you stalk me across the United States and try to do whatever kind of obliteration. Carl has a lot of connections to a lot of people, big parties across the street. Doesn't want the cameras on him, but they can watch me 24/7. Belittle me at the corner store. Tell me what I'm doing. Tell me basically, literally, without being engrossed with it, how I wipe my ass on my toilet. Eavesdropping and utilizing techniques besides electronic jamming and all the rest of stuff. So, I'm done with the shit. They're trying to play, well, if you're not my friend, you're going to be ostracized. You're kicked out of the group. We're going to play the social bully hazing game that the whole wide network of the whole city, police included, law enforcement, all kinds of connections, being hazed. You have to understand you're now mentally retarded and we have the rights to do whatever we want to you. Well, in a sense, it's been told to me if I get, and what it is, incapacitated to the point that it does give them the rights to basically try to make their intervention, their situations worked. But at the same time, me giving an evidence or say so, my word, me going in and talking that this situation was happening with just a certain amount, because there's been a lot of corruption of internal people, like mental health, whatnot. They understand now that they're attacking with the situation, so they caused it. So technically there needs to be more thorough criminal investigation of what's going on, including with corruption. Which is also, like I told them, there's a case in Colorado. The police just completely obliterated with external internal affairs. They came from out of state, out of city. It wasn't just like a normal, citywide network. This stuff was harsh. And there's connections. They keep calling out Terrence and Malachi. I don't know Terrence's last name. Law enforcement connected, but also kind of gang hood connected. They've been making a social situation as such. Abusing power no matter which way it is, and utilizing it to assault, threat, intimidate, and socially prosper from. I'm better than you, you don't fuck with us. Well, here's the thing, all this, you don't fuck with us, we want you gone, we don't want you around. The whole point is guaranteed. I've traveled many different cities across the United States. And why would you stalk? The question is to those people and those who are trying to understand it. If they don't want me around, why would you follow me? Why would you? And it ain't just like down the street. We're talking state to state. Bullshit. Fraudulent, corrupted United States works. That's obliterated me. I've had a psychologist talk, and then the situations, even without evidence, just the story that I pit and told and was able to express and relay, the stuff that I'm saying is completely obliterating, criminally wrong, and I spaced out. There's a lot of things going on to the point I've been losing comprehension. It being incapacitated. The mind actually, and which was explained by the psychiatrist, can happen. Somebody intimidates you and puts you under a certain amount of threat. it can happen this way, but the things that I'm talking about is massively above just a brush into somebody verbally abusing, emotionally abusing. It's even worse than the physical abuse that's been going on. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Let it save to the card. I have 30 gigabytes to record with. It's 32 gigabyte card. I do this in all my videos, or tons and tons. And I'll say I'm going to end this video, which I'm not going to do that at the moment. I've been recording for 10 minutes. It's used 243 megabytes. Settings seem to be alright. It's not too high, not too low. It's not going to take up and eat up the SD card if I do lengthy videos, which has happened, that they've done firmware change, settings in the phone change, jamming, all kinds of shit. FBI, there's government included. What I say is there's a situation of interracial relationships with a girl back in the past, way back in my past, and there was problems at school with that. Her dad didn't like me. He worked with the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, and what I believe, I may have the lettering wrong, as far as my understanding all these years, it was DEA, and utilizing that situation with her interracial relationship without blaming it. There has been a lot. She was with black people, and there was a lot of black situations. We can get away with shit. We have connections on the inside. We can jeopardize, and hey, we have authority from the country, United States, and what represents. And if you can't prove it, we're going to jeopardize your life, and have, basically, is what happened. I'm not going to blame that situation, because once I've expressed that situation, there are a very few of the handfuls of people that's been messing around. Don't keep that in their mind every day. It's already been settled. Or some of the newbies that didn't understand what's going on, that are starting, that was recruited to track and shit like that, didn't understand it, and they get a whiff of that themselves, and understand their superiors already understood this, but for themselves now understand, ooh, they got something else massively to play with. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video on that note. Not greatly spoken, but yeah, I just had to replace a very secure situation with an SD card going out right at this, in the same spot that a hard drive to a security DVR went out. Wow, if I guarantee, I invite anybody that sees this video to go ahead and come to Columbus, Ohio, Gift Street, Walnut Street, Town Street, Ridge Street, McDowell Street, Columbus, Ohio, and you'll see the area. If you can stick around, that'd be sweet. If you can't, and sticking around, I mean like a week, two, and as much time as you can. But even within a few minutes around, if you see me in motion, you'll notice somebody verbally making contact, or making contact in any which way that they can, and a social situation that is more than likely not right. But I won't even say not right. Legalities get into, it's okay to do this and that. They've manipulated and corroded the system. So even if it is right, the whole point is there anything whatsoever involved with me as I'm out on my own personal time, my privacy, my rights? And you'll notice that, besides you also being there, that you would notice that there is something else there, no matter what it is. And nobody wants to explain. Somebody's making out that's schizoid. Nobody understands it. Nobody has to. Your doctors don't have to understand it. What the doctors say psychologists, not just doctors. No, they need a civil suit to be enacting civil enforcement, and that's what they're doing against you, which is illegal. Intimidating, now it's coming to intimidating threat, without paper in the system having the rights to say they have a right to stand this way. They don't have a right to be doing what they're doing. So I've already had that enforced. That was 7 years ago. Take it back, almost 8 years ago, almost to date, may even be to date. 2011, between September and also April of 2012. There's 3 times that I was probated into psychiatrics because of these guys perjurizing, and it was talked about perjury. Well, I don't care. I got a right to do it. Well, you have a right to do it with the situation when, after I gave, like I said, now the system understands, nope, there's a bigger situation going on. These guys have intentionally, legally, professionally tried to teach themselves to outdo the United States system, compare and match anything and everything that they can do to run their own structure of socialism, their own structure, basically foundation of like government, their own social government, their own social situation of power and enforcement. With that being said, inviting somebody here, or I could come to you, and it's guaranteed that one of these times I want to test the situation again, that you're going to see it's not one person, it's not just law enforcement. Those who act out as if they're in law enforcement, it's been busted, be questioned. Are you employed at the moment with the local law enforcement? No. Then what the hell would they be doing there? Enforcing legal tactics that they've been trained, but they're not at the moment employed with the county, the city, or the government to be able to be enforcing that. And that's one of the things of corruption, fraud, impersonation, and shit that had happened in the past. And now that every time I complain, we'll get better. We'll outdupe you any which way, mentally, physically, systematically, which was called systematical assault by the facility that I was in. But that facility was also people, and the people working with me, well, there's a bunch of shit that just went on here, and it also went corrupted. It corroded, and it is not 100% a great situation here either. It's not safe and sound to the point that you need it. You need a legal help, you need this, and somebody is intentionally trying to jeopardize life without giving you the rights to represent the correct way, because that's not how the system works, is the way they want to enforce it, because it just doesn't work in their behalf, because they're the authorities to take care of the situation. Neglect, abuse, dumbass shit like that, and even worse, just there's a mass situation that needs a whole lot more care than utilizing a systematical, well, this is what we've been instructed to do, and I had to get a lawyer and shit to out-construct their shit. But then it also makes sense of who constructed it. Some of that was malicious. That type of in-depth stuff. I don't have the money to pay for that. I'm poor, and they love priving on that and depriving me of having any abilities. And it's been 20, 30 plus years. There's multitudes of different ways. Mental health, controlment, social controlment, social integration because of mental health, social abilities and stuff like that. Yes, I understand social testing. What they have done, and it's been understood even by perfectly good strangers, this ain't a social test. This is their social grouping, partying, ostracizing, empowering themselves, entertaining themselves, and making threats. It has nothing to do with your ability of communication and ability to deal with normal life. Oh, bullshit, prove it, we'll overspeak. Intimidate those who stand against. If you stand grounds for him, we'll start fucking your guys' shit up, is what's happened. Same thing in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and it's even corrupt out there. We're talking about government and people associated. Daughters, sons, association type of shit, family, even with outside being in family, friends, just no matter what kind of friendly connection and close connection it was, happened out there. Next thing you know, hey, I don't have a system to look to and say, you're the system, help me out, because it went scumbagged, or was scumbagged, corrupted. Columbus, Ohio was pointed out by multitudes of states, including, and I say states, places that I've been, other cities, we'll just go other states. Other places that I've been multitudes of times over 20 some damn years of being the culprit, the roots of the causes that are happening. And some of that stuff was broken down in Colorado Springs. Some of that stuff was broken down in Arizona. The Colorado Springs situation, when they started to deal with the situation, realized, no, he's right. There's people in here corruptly, wrongfully working, authoritating shit that they shouldn't, even though it feels like it's correct because it's authoritative, because they've either been trained that way or they figure they can enforce it that way. They have no grounds to stand. They're not from here type of situation. They don't have this and that. Proven out mafioso, mob-styled threats, intimidation, or power enforcement, constructing a social communal relation to where they have power and control. That over-dominates unless the system wants to utilize the strength that they finally did to come in and figure out what's going on. Everything looks kosher, and it wasn't. I'm not the only complainant. This went into the news. This was broadcasted. There was many other cases, but a lot of those people stepped forward and said, your case is a main situation because we're being bothered by the people that are not from here, that you're from Ohio, and it's not a blame situation on me. You're from Ohio. They followed you here, but they're taking advantage of everything. So it's mobbing. And the cops in here calling like, you crybaby, put up with it, this is normal, it's social life, deal with it, manage it yourself. wasn't correct. I'm not the only person that is discussing this situation, the only person that knows something's going on. This went through court. People sued the city out there. They sued the cops. They did all kinds of shit. They constructed and gained back the control and ability and fought back against those ones that are saying, hey, we'll socially, intelligently, intellectually challenge everybody's system, and if you can't defeat us, we control it. And that's what's happening. And that's been happening. The thing is hey, you get one place solved. Colorado has no jurisdiction in a certain sense that could help somebody else out in another state, another city, another county type of situation. They can't follow. Their situation is contained within inside their city. I go someplace new, just like they've all bragged. It's a fresh start. What you gonna do, bitch? I'm done. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. But with that being said, watch me be able to travel to you. Leave your comments. Either travel to you or you travel around the area that I'm in. And my whole main point for anybody while they're trying to play out that nothing is going on, that there is, no matter what it is, an attached, associated situation going on that's incorrect. Or even it's still there. It's tangibly there. Just like now, putting in the mind, me trying to show that it's wrong and corrupted, ill will and all the rest, that I'm traveling and these other people are following, utilizing authoritative fucking tones, and been caught that basically, like other cops have said, impersonating a fucking officer, impersonating, even if they have certification, they graduated officer school, they're not employed. But that's not just police, but this is the ideal tension. No matter what it is, I've been told I shouldn't be interfered, the voices, this, that, the attributes, the system doesn't know about it, it is concerning, but I shouldn't be going through it, there's no legal rights for it, while these other people are applying its normal life to go ahead and say anything and everything, even if the system says he's a criminal and we're following him to criminally investigate. No matter what it is there anything whatsoever happening? Because what these guys are doing is regulating mental health, the restraints of the system, and abusing that power and saying, hey, we're enforcing this. And that's because we are professionally, we have this, we understand this situation. While they know damned well, and are the participants, associates, and the people that has done it, orchestrated the power to undermine and overmine, just like a psychiatrist said, myself, and everything else that's involved. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Later on, I'll say I'm appreciated that you guys watch this. Rambling on, I probably, I'm going to say, have emphysema, so a lot of the video conversation there, rambling of me rambling, is definitely unwanted. A lot of people don't want to listen to me. The nagging in my voice, the situation, I have explanations on how some of that works. I've had facial fractures and stuff like that, and broken nose, stuff like that. More and more added up against me because they've caused this shit, to feeling bad, not being able to be wanted, not being able to be accepted, or sounding good enough to even be heard. And they're counting on that, and it's already crushed me. But emphysema was something else that was being said, or pre-emphysema, for the at least last 5-6 years. Even though there's not a doctor diagnosis, but there's situations where people are taking and watching, on top of watching these other assholes do what they're doing, and saying, hey, this is either comparable to a family or friend of mine, or even a possible doctor, which is out of line. But hey, who would say a doctor trying to help you out, saying, I see symptoms in you that relay like this, and it's not a legal advice, but you might want to check up on it. But anyways, so yeah, I'm pretty suffocated. All my schizo, all kinds of stuff. It wouldn't matter what they've done to me, the abuse, the assaults, the attacks, psychologically, emotionally, socially, life-threatening situations, even without just being physically. What I was told by the system is social, life-threatening. They're obliterating my life to the point I'm breathing and living, but there's nothing more. That's still life-threatening, no different than someone sticking a gun. And this is what the system said. No worse than somebody sticking a gun to your head and intimidating you, or even basically pulling the trigger and killing you. So, I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and that'll be that. Hopefully somebody makes it to the end and understands what I've been saying. I do want to say, it sounds like I'm out crying and need a lot of help. I do, but I can't utilize the system. There's been a lot of corruption with that. And there's been abuse of power and this and that. And a lot of things aren't recorded. Things that were recorded, the information disappeared. It doesn't matter. I don't have the proof and evidence at the moment, except for me standing my own grounds, doing videos, doing this, doing that, and being able to say, hey, I don't have no contact or a witness or a friend with me, so the only witness and friend that I have is my videos. They're supposed to be in here intellectually, mentally mind mapping, and profiling is another thing that they keep saying. Like criminal profiling. For 20 some fucking years, my ass, excuse the lingo. But if your intelligence is that intelligent, then where did you not catch up? And even while you're saying you have this right to investigatively travel across the United States with me, that you did not put together the thug, the gang member, the mafia, the criminal, the real criminal, life-threatening situation that you're entertaining yourself off of, and you're also influencing the situation of me being attacked, assaulted physically, mentally, psychologically, and allowing it to happen underneath it'll help us induce the evidence that we need from you or towards you, against you, so we're going to allow it to happen, pitting my life in threat, jeopardy, and endangerment. To explain how that works, that you haven't incriminated anybody else doing the criminal acts that they've done, including yourself, the corruption, and coming forward and saying, we messed up, the case ends because we messed up, or whatever they got going on, or we've messed up, and it doesn't matter. No, they're just in here completely no different than Nazi Germany obliterating life. When I speak, because I'm the law, and I've had people this way, I'm the law, and I'm hearing some over shit from outside already, where they're eavesdropping and they'll talk back to me when I'm having conversations either on phone, camera, internet. Hey buddy, that's not right. But anyhow, I'll get it. I know I jumped off. But anyhow, their attitude, well, if you trust me, then I'm going to put it this way, and this is how we're going to MacGyver this. Completely obliterate here. Let's push everything down in the garbage can, and we'll start in a fresh way this way. But at the same time, now you're schizophrenic. We're treating you specialized because you don't have these abilities. Why haven't they put together why? You keep saying you're mapping, you're doing this profiling, and you ain't came forth with why? How the hell are you accusing, prosecuting, or profiling without a why? I'm done. Pressing stop on this video. Y'all have fun.